Aris.
Yay! We haven't verified, but it does say animator on your birth certificate, I believe. That is your official name.
My name is animator Arisdesi de la Garza Silvia at your services. Please be
Comrade in there
nice.
somewhere too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Comrade, animator.
So we were just about to talk about Klara and the Sun. You lent me this one. Well, you didn't actually. You lent it to someone else, and then I read it on the plane.
Friend lent it to me, and then I read
I
it,
was lent
and
to you
then
in the first place. Okay, this book has gone
yes.
around in circles.
So yeah. So a friend lent it to me. I read it, amazing. And then I lent it to you because a friend wanted it back, and you saw friend.
Yeah, I was just like essentially a courier, but I was like, well, I need more books to read, so I might read this on the plane while
Mm,
I
mm,
fly
mm.
over.
I feel like I'm left out.
Oh. Alfred also
I'm
hasn't
just
read it
here.
that I know of.
Alfred is.
Alex
Yeah.
and Alfred can join the Cool Guys Club.
Okay, we'll hang out over here then. Alfred, they're being mean to us, aren't they?
But have you
Hmm.
read other books by Ishiguro Aris? Like we covered Never Let You Go recently on the show. That's a really famous one. Very, very good. He seems to always write like slightly dystopian things. Like this one's not too dystopian, but it's still got like futuristic robot people that are companions to people and stuff like that. He always seems to be in that type of vein. Alfred's waving at you. Hello. So how much do you remember from this book?
Oh boy, how much do I remember? It reminded me a lot to this anime called Chubbits by my favorite authors, aka
Blam!
Clamp.
Okay, now I can be included on this conversation.
And I could not.
It reminded me a lot to that because it's basically
Robot
the book and
Babe.
the show are about very human looking robots that at some point there's this kind of blur between are they a robot or are they a human, and
Yes.
the relationship with humans and how it develops and how some people just purely look at them as a robot, other people have kind of forgotten that they're a robot and they treat them a bit more like a human. And yeah, there's something very peculiar about the sun. I can't remember exactly what, but the sun is very present throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, so our main character is Klara. She's this robot that's going to be a companion to a child, and she's in the store still. And she feels a special connection to the sun. I think she feels it particularly, but all of the robots are meant to feel it in some capacity.
I think she's like solar powered, or she thinks like the sun is their deity, or something along
Yeah,
those lines.
she feels like energy from it, and when the sun will like shine on the ground or whatever, she'll want to like touch the spot. Like she
She's just
feels
like a
this like
cat.
so she's a cat. No. But yeah, she feels this like special connection with it. She feels nourishment from it. Um, our particular character, like our particular robot, is also a particularly inquisitive one, which is not normal. The others are like less inquisitive. Her friend, I think she's called Rosa,
So,
is like accepts everything that happens. Ours is always asking like, "What's going on? Why is this happening? What's going on in the outside world?" This type of stuff. Alfred is doing shenanigans. Um, the interesting thing is, I assumed they were going to be like, right, we can't have you asking all these questions and being inquisitive, but they don't. The manager says, it's good that you're inquisitive. This will help your companion. So these robots are essentially going to go and
Where did you just touch Alfred?
I printed out. These robots are going to go and live with children. And so the more inquisitive she is, the better, because like that might actually help the child's life. There's a weird dystopian thing going on where they've taken the kids like out of their schools and done some kind of weird thing with them that now enables them to get these companions.
Okay.
And there's a friend, Rick. So the robot goes to this child, and her friend Rick hasn't been chosen in that way. He's more like living a normal life, and they look down on him a little bit for being like in an almost lower class because
oh
he,
yeah, you if you have a robot, you are like fancy human.
yeah. But they've done something weird to make that happen, and I didn't quite catch what it was. But we also hear that they used to have a second child who died.
Oh,
So there's that to add on to it as well. And then the beginning of the book is quite nice because it's just the robot in the store, and she's like, "When are we going to get our special day in the window of the store where all the people can see us and we can see into the street?" And they really like this. And this one kid sees them and is like, "I'm going to come back for you, and you're going to be mine."
Hmm.
And the manager of the store is like, "The kids say that all the time. They don't necessarily mean it, but then they do."
Hmm.
But something weird happens. The mom,
This one in particular does, but like everybody goes like, oh yeah, they come and go. Like, don't trust them because they never really come back.
yeah, the mom
Because
says,
basically, like you're going to a store and you're like, ooh, I like that t-shirt. But you go to basically every store and you say, I like that t-shirt,
"Yeah,
but
yeah."
you are not buy any.
The mum says, "We will buy you if you can imitate my daughter's walk."
Oh, okay.
And the manager finds that weird, but they go along with it. She goes over. She has a good relationship with the girl, to be honest. Not such a good relationship with her friend Rick necessarily, but more or less they get along. The housekeeper hates her. Melania housekeeper is just like, "I don't want this weird robot thing in the house or whatever. Go out of the room," and this type of stuff. She starts to get
Oh,
close.
and this is weird. The
Yeah,
mother is constantly telling the robot, can you imitate my daughter?
yeah,
Can you like do you know my daughter? Well, like, do you know my daughter inside out? You need to understand my daughter from head to toes. You need to be able to
yeah.
like basically read my daughter's mind.
At one point, she takes the daughter. The daughter misbehaves or says something, so she's not allowed to go on the trip. But the mom brings the robot on like a trip to the waterfalls, and they sort of bond. And the mom treats her like a daughter. It's a bit weird.
Hmm.
So
And
there's also
Clara, the robot, she's like, oh my God, finally I'm being part of the family. I'm being
yeah,
included. But I don't think she really understood what leaving the daughter behind and taking her meant. But she saw it as they're finally accepting me. And it got at some point very tense because she was like, walk like my daughter. And she's like, eh? She's
this
like,
is
yeah,
weird.
walk like my daughter. She's like, you're not limping like my daughter. You can do better than this. And she pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed the robot. And I was like, what is this?
So
This is weird.
the daughter is
And they
also
got into a
sick
little bit
and
of a
dying.
fight.
The daughter is sick and dying, and that's led to believe that that's the result of whatever experiment or thing the parents are doing with their kids that puts them into this like higher class and they get the robots and everything. They've done something to them, and then it's wondered like, is that why the other sibling died?
Hmm.
Something didn't work, and now is the same thing going to happen again?
They're gonna have to get another robot.
Mm. So things are a bit weird. A bunch of other kids visit one time, and they're all not that nice. And they're like, "Well, our robots are newer than yours, and yours isn't that special," and all this type of stuff. So just like kids being bratty. But we get a little bit more details, like, oh, there is this separate class of kids, and they look down on Rick and all that type of stuff.
Hmm.
So we see like a bit of that.
Is Rick the friend? Rick
Rick
is
is
the
the
friend,
friend.
right?
They thought they
They're,
would
I
marry each
think like
other just because they were like the only two kids in the village, basically.
this kid, he's I
The
don't know
poop
how far
head.
in the story we are because this guy, he's basically kind of like the only friend from Clara. But then when
Yeah,
all these
he's a good
friends
guy.
came along, Clara was being very. Wait, is Clara the girl or the robot?
Clara's the girl, yeah. Clara's a bit. No, sorry,
Yeah,
Clara's
okay.
the
She
robot.
was
Sorry.
very dismissive.
I
No,
don't
wait,
know the
Clara is
girl's
the girl,
name.
right? Or is Clara the robot? Clara's the
Clara's the
robot.
robot. I cannot remember the girl's name for some reason.
Okay, let's
It's
call her
Josie.
Maria.
Josie.
Josie. Okay, so Josie, um, she's like, no, you need to come to my party. I think it was her birthday party or something
Yeah.
weird. And they're like, come to my party. And then the guy was like, dude, I don't know. Like I am like the lower class person. They're not gonna be nice with me. They don't like me, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, but I want you to come. You mean something very special to me. Blah, 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 blah. So the guy came over and of course, he got bullied and whatnot. But Clara also didn't know how to react to her friends being mean. So
Yeah.
he got very hurt because he was like, see, this is exactly why they don't want to come. They treat me like shit. They're also treating you like shit. But because they're all treating you like shit, you're also treating me like shit, which is not fun.
I'm gonna have
It
to
was
use
like,
four bleeps.
eh?
Poop.
Oh,
Say
they're
poop.
treating me like poop, and then you treat me like poop, and then this
I treat
other
you
person, I
very
don't know, it's just this very weird cycle where no one's being true to themselves because society, because weird ideas, and then they're trying to be cool and weird things like that. And Clara, I think at some point, did she write a letter to
Did she what, sorry?
wrote a letter to her? Who wrote a letter to who?
They write a
Because they
letter
were
to Rick as a kind of apology type thing eventually, and then because they'd stop the
they
two
were
kids would
playing
stop
a
talking for a
game.
while.
There was a scene where they were playing a game and they were like drawing
Yeah,
and
the
oh my
girl
God, can
draw
you
Josie
remember?
draws things, and then Rick fills in like the thought bubbles what the characters are thinking and saying to each other. But they get mad and he leaves at one point. The girl's kind of mean to him, to be honest. And so then they send Clara with like an apology note, essentially.
Oh, this part was really cool because like Clara, I have a very important mission. You need to go to my friend's house, which was like all the way at the other side of the fields, but
Yeah.
it's getting dark. So you need to come back before it gets dark because you might get lost. And Clara has the letter and she's like, oh my God, it's a very special mission. Ooh. So she goes to the friend and then she learns a lot about this guy's family. And also on her way there, she sees the sun setting and going through some building.
It's through a barn. Yeah.
Yeah, through the barn. And she genuinely thought that all her questions, because she had a lot of questions. I can't remember why Clara, like what kind of questions Clara had, but she had a lot of
Yeah.
questions that she needed answered, and she believed the song would fill her answers. So she detoured to go to the barn because that's where she would see the sun.
Yes. The sun
She obviously,
sets at the barn.
yeah, she got lost. She got scared. The guy came help her. He gave her Clara's letter. They explained a lot of things. Please fill up the details because I don't remember the details
No,
anymore.
you've more or less covered all of that. The only thing I want to add is it's kind of touching in a sad way for Clara because she's almost like a child. Like she thinks, oh, the sun is setting in the barn. I've been taught that the sun is so special, so it will fix everything. And she thinks it'll make the girl better if they can like ask the sun, like, please, Mr. Sun, make Josie better.
Sun,
Oh,
And so
sun,
it's so
Mr. Golden
she keeps
Sun.
telling everyone, like, don't worry, I have a plan. If you'll do all these things, and we'll fix everything. And they believe her, but then her plan is just like to talk to the sun.
Okay.
She
it's
also
very
has a
sweet. And
second
the guy's basically carrying Clara because she's running out of
carries her.
battery at the point. So
She has
he's
a
carrying
second
her, but
plan.
there's mud, and she's like, "You need to hurry before it goes away." La, la. Oh my God, it was a very sweet scene.
Yeah.
And she finally gets back home. I
Well, there's
can't
a
remember.
pollution machine that she wants to destroy, and she also thinks that that will like fix everything.
Oh,
And
that
of
was
course, that
really
also
fun
doesn't.
though.
They go to like great lengths to take her into the city and kill this machine, and then obviously the construction workers or whatever just have another machine. So like, it's pointless.
No,
Um,
but that was really beautifully narrated though. The way they narrated that was really beautiful, and it
oh
felt like
yeah.
a proper adventure, and it gave you enough tension. Like I don't know, it was fun. I enjoyed that part. I was like, "Oh my God, this is so ridiculous," but I'm here for it.
It's all very nice. Josie and her mum don't sadly have a great relationship. Rick and his mum also don't, but Rick's more embarrassed of his mum, but actually his mum is trying to help. And she's like, we're going to try to get you a job. So part of the things they do when they go into the city is they meet up with like an old boyfriend of hers and try to get a job for Rick. And Rick is very clever despite not being one of the gifted kids. And then because they're asking for a favor, like that all doesn't work out, unfortunately. But that's the excuse to bring everyone to the city to destroy the pollution machine or whatever. It's really weird, but the book sort of ends with the girl is okay. Like Clara does save her, and she thinks it's because she prayed to the sun, but it's unclear. What's sad is that Rick and the girl separate because they grow up a bit and he goes off somewhere else, and then she
Oh,
goes off
but
to
wait,
college and they just end up separated, and she doesn't even need her child companion anymore, which is a
I don't
robot.
remember that, but you're absolutely skipping the most perturbing part of the
Yeah,
entire
I
book.
thought we'd focus on that last. So
Okay.
Clara's plan is to Clara's plan is to
I
send
did
them the
not see
pollution.
that coming.
No, no, I do remember about it. Don't worry. So they eventually meet Josie's dad as well. He's a science guy, but he's very suspicious. He's going along with this plan of the mums, but he's a bit more suspicious of it. They go to like get her photographs done, and the housekeeper is like, "Please look after her while she's out there, robot. Even though I hate you." And it turns out they're building a kind of doll replica of the girl that they then want Clara to inhabit. So they're just like, "We're gonna let our child die." and then use this robot to mimic her. And they think, especially the mom thinks, like, this will be fine. We'll be happy with our daughter being a replica acted out by a
Oh my God,
robot.
but when they walked into the room, it was so
That's dystopian.
it. Oh my God, like. So this girl is like, you need to go in there, trust the doctor, trust the doctor. And I was like, okay, this is giving me creepy vibes. Sure. So then they measured the daughter, right? They basically at some point had, I don't know if it was her or Clara, that they were just kind of hanging like freaking Jesus Christ from
So
like
what's
some pictures
hanging
just
is
hanging.
the fake, like the replica skin of the girl of the daughter. So they're taking all these photographs of the daughter that they're then using to make this fake version of her, and they distract Clara by getting her to do like tests on a computer to keep her out of the way.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, but that was so perturbing. I did not see that coming. I was
it's
like, how twisted.
really gross. I thought the
It's
book was going to be worse than it was. Like I thought they were going to go through with this, and the daughter was going to die. But somehow Clara's prayers to the sun seem to fix everything, or it's a coincidence, and it all works out okay, and they don't need to do this plan. In a way, that was a weaker ending. Like it would have been a more memorable ending if the girl had died and they tried to do the doll thing, but they don't.
no, like it's really interesting because throughout the whole book, I was like, is she going to be like the robot? Like I thought she was
Mm,
like really some sort of like the robot that was going to fix humanity or the apocalypse or something along those lines. I never really saw the whole I want you to imitate my daughter part. So
right.
it takes you to this wild ride, but I never guessed the end. I was like, where is this getting to? Like, I couldn't really figure out the point of the book. Like, I was like, this is interesting. I'm enjoying this. It's playful. It's serious
Mm.
sometimes. It's ridiculous at times. But I was like, I couldn't figure out the conclusion until I was at the conclusion. So I thought it was really cool because it always kept you guessing, or at least it always kept me guessing. I couldn't be like, oh yeah, I know exactly where this is going. Because I was like, yeah, I know. No, no, it's not okay, no, that's out of the window. Okay. So I enjoyed that. It completely caught me by surprise.
It did, but it was also kind of weird just because they introduced this incredibly scary, disgusting dystopian concept, and then they don't use it. They're just like, well, we didn't need to do that in the end. And the sad ending for Clara is now that she's no longer needed, she just goes out to a field and just stays there until she dies or shuts down or stops working or whatever.
So what is with basically going out to a field and dying? That's the second time that's happened
Yeah, yeah.
this month.
But I'm just saying the strangest thing about this book is they introduce this whole dystopian concept, which is we're gonna when the girl dies, the robot's gonna inhabit this fake skin of her we've built and pretend to be my daughter, and we'll just
Yeah,
continue life like that. But then they don't need to do it because the girl lives, and it's such a weird thing for me to introduce this dystopian concept and then
not use
be
it.
like, actually, we didn't need it in the end.
Oh.
But you wouldn't know you didn't need it. Like they went like the disturbing part is that the parents even had this idea to
Oh, it's
begin
still
with.
very disturbing. Yeah,
Technology allow you to literally copy paste. You're like that is that the no no.
it's still a very good book, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it a yeah, yeah, yeah.